Hey there, comic fans. Back from the comic shop again this week. 7 new comics. And don't forget my Patreon if you want to support my art. Link down below. Or go and see and look at some of my art. Let's start with my museum top of my printer covers this week. We've got What If, number 11. What if the original Marvel bullpen had become the Fantastic Four? That's Jack Kirby as the Thing, Stan Lee as Mr. Fantastic, Flo Steinberg as the Invisible Woman, and I think that's Sal Brodsky as the Human Torch. And then we've got this one, Denizens of Deep City, number 5, Doug Potter. I don't think I've read this since the 80s. I was just looking for stuff on my shelf, and that cover caught my eye. I think there was like 6 or 8 of these issues. I think I have the whole series as far as I know. It was a story of these kids living in this city. I'm going to have to go back and read this since it's been 30 years or so, but now I'll pick 2 more to keep on the top of my printer all week. Now let's show you the free stuff. We've got the comic shop news. We live in an age of paladins. Don't know what that is. Is that Marvel? DC? Of Aftershock. Okay, that's some sort of Aftershock book. I'll have to read about that. Always stuff to read in comic shop news. We'll check out what that is. And then they put one of these out every year. A Marvel calendar. They give this away for free as promo. It's always a horizontal calendar with vertical images on it. I don't know what that is. I don't know who thinks that's a good idea. But that's always how it is. Oh, it looks like we have a new version and an old version of the cover. But there's just a lot of wasted space in these calendars, which should be all about art. They're never great. Matter of fact, I think I still have last year's. Last year's just sitting in a pile. It just happened to come. Oh, it's got dust bunny on it, sitting in the top. This is once again last year's. They even tilted it. This one was just real annoying. Not only did they make it horizontal, vertical in a horizontal space, they even tilted it. Last year's was especially terrible. But anyway, let's see what comics we got this week. This one is. This is first of all, it's a double-size $8 issue, which is kind of I don't need a double-size Cerebus in Hell issue. And way below average zoom. Okay, it looks like from here it's parodying the generic comic book that Marvel put out in the 80s, which the original generic comic book parody cover now incorporating a parody of other Avengers 221 with all the tiny head. What a terrible cover. And you can tell by this is copy 1346 out of 1769. 1700 is about the bottom of the print run. Depending on how popular the cover is that he's parodying is how popular the comic is. And this one was obviously not that popular, but it's more Cerebus stuff. Though I think he's run out of coronavirus jokes. I remember not liking last issue as much as the first 2 that had coronavirus jokes. So we'll see how this one is. Double size. I don't think there was any reason. Did I see color in there? Oh, saw a little color at the very end. Weird, man. But some more Cerebus in Hell. That one with a terrible cover. Then we've got Once and Future, number 23. This book's been chugging along. All of England has turned into this fairyland with all these mythical creatures running around in it. And they're trying to get out of it. They're trying to figure out what to do. It was this woman and her grandson, that woman right there. It was her whole job to keep this from happening, and it happened in terms of like the fairy world merging with the real world. So I have no idea where that one's going, so we'll see. Kaiju Max Season 6, number 5. This one, the Kaiju who are in prison were recruited to help fight an alien invasion. They're mostly doing cleanup jobs and stuff. But so this is all about sort of the relationships between the kaiju who are in prison and the wardens and the guards and stuff like that. It's good stuff. Oh, I forgot this is always a wraparound cover. It's always good. I enjoyed it. I always say it's one of the most human books out there, and it's about giant monsters. Speaking of giant bugs, there's Ice Cream Man, number 27. Guy transformed into a giant. That's Kafka-esque, I would think. But these are all kind of done in one horror stories with a very thin connecting line of the Ice Cream Man. And at times early on, they tried to give us a meta story with the Ice Cream Man, but I don't think they've done that in a while. I think they've just been doing these done-in-ones. Often some crazy experimental storytelling, too, so... It's a book I jumped on in the middle of. It was like, issue 18 or something was my first issue. But just jump on it. It's good stuff. Then we've got The Great Gatsby, number 3. Looks like they got the right file on this one. The last issue looked like they printed the 72 DPI JPEG by mistake. But I've been on a Gatsby kick all year. Not only have I been buying this, which came out, the first issue I think came out in the summer. Very nice art in it. I reread The Great Gatsby. I read an annotated Great Gatsby. I read 2 books on The Great Gatsby, talking about The Great Gatsby. And I read 2 Great Gatsby graphic novels. This is the 3rd one that's coming out. I enjoy it thoroughly. I think this is the best of the 3 Gatsby graphic novels because it's got the best art. But really enjoying it. What can I say? Give me more Gatsby. I want a Great Gatsby graphic novel adapted by P. Craig Russell. That's what I want. That's on my wish list. Then we got Odin's Eye, number 3 from Bad Idea Comics. You can see my name as the production guy in the back. First 2 issues of this were real good. I think... Nice cover on that, too. I think this is the best Bad Idea comic they've put out yet. And they put out some good comics. Their comics are generally good. But this one really captures my imagination. It takes place during a little ice age in 536 AD or something. And it's very historical in that there's these different groups of Vikings. And there was even some Inuit Indians or something like that. I don't know what the natives of the Arctic Circle near Norway are called, or wherever they are. They just showed up briefly, but the art is terrific. It's about this little girl who's chosen by Odin to go on a quest to find Odin's lost eye. But the gods and the people are really separate. It's not like Marvel Comics Odin and Thor where everybody can see him. He speaks to him through dreams and stuff, and the people really don't see the gods. So that's kind of an interesting little storytelling technique. But really enjoying this. There's only 2 more. It's been a weekly, so this is the 3rd week in a row. Let me check the varnish too. Varnish looks good. I'm the one who puts who indicates where the varnish goes. So I gotta. Oh yeah, got in there. Good. And varnish on the back. The varnish is just on the bench. Good stuff. Enjoying that. 2 more weeks, 2 more issues. It's not a cheap one. This one is $8 for this. And then the last one of the week is Manifest Destiny. Issue number 45, which my comic shop neglected to put in my bag for me in my pull list. They put all your stuff aside in a bag, but this copy was on the shelf, which I assume is the only copy in the store. That's why it was still on the shelf. But this is a Lewis and Clark fantasy story, I guess you would call it. Lewis and Clark expedition is crossing the USA and meeting up with monsters. I think this one ends sometime around 50 also, so I think the story will be wrapping up soon, but the art is terrific. The story's a lot of fun, and I've been buying it for 45 issues. Let me show you a little of my artwork. I haven't had time to work on this big one at all, but I worked on this, which I took my very first Dreams of Things cover and redid it in my colored ink style, which was really tough because this original drawing was very sort of refined. It was more like, it was very designy and very graphic arty, and then I had to take it and add all these weird color strokes to it. So I actually had a tough time. I'm actually liking it better looking at it on screen, because sometimes you have to look at it a different way. I worked on it like all of yesterday, so I kind of get tired of looking at it, and I couldn't see it anymore, so I just let it. But looking at it on screen, I think I like it better than I looked at it yesterday. I also made some of these little art cards because I got some. Amazon now makes these knockoff Sharpie markers for it was like $10 for 24 of them. So I was like, let me test them out, see if they're any good. I have so many markers. Not only do I have my expensive Copic markers, which I use all the time, I have like a set of 24 Sharpies, a set of 24 Bic Marks a Lot markers. I have like cheap markers and art ones. But it's like, sometimes for $10, who wouldn't want to try out a new set of 24 markers? But matter of fact, I ordered some art supplies to stock up for next year. I ordered. They should be coming on Thursday, so maybe I'll do an art supply haul, and I'll throw these. I'll show you these markers too, since they count as a haul, even though I got them a couple days before. All right, there you go. Some comic books, some artworks. Don't forget about my Patreon, and we'll catch you guys later.